Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming to this month's town hall meeting. We have a couple of, is it too quiet? Is there any way we could turn up the volume on this? How's that? Better? Okay. Good morning. Welcome to this month's town hall meeting. We have a couple of individuals who are going to provide presentations today. I'll provide a little bit of information. Then I'll pass things off to Emily. Emily will pass it to Al Vega. Al Vega will pass it to Debbie Dill. And then I was really contemplating. I was talking to Frank Morgan. I was talking to Lou Brooks. And I looked at him and said, guys, what if we just don't have any questions today? No questions. Both of them disagreed pretty vehemently. So we'll have a question and answer session at the end. Lou has questions. Okay. A couple of things. You may see Nate Weber here over to my right, to your left. Nate is not presenting anything today, but if there are any questions related to a letter you received for dining that we talked about the other week, we're here to do our best to continually answer questions and talk through some items. So if there are any questions related to that, Nate decided it would be a good idea to be on site today. And when we have coffee and conversation in 2 weeks, a member from the Garden Spot Finance team, Deb Bartow, she's our controller, she will be on site as well to answer those questions. So we want to make sure that we're answering questions as they come up, as thoughts occur, as letters are reviewed, so that we can do our best to clarify things as much as possible. Sound good? I would like to bring up two quick things before I pass the mic off. One, does anyone know what a Wittenborg 9100 is? Some of us do. Some of us do. It is the coffee machine that is outside of my office. So that's there on a temporary basis. We're testing it out, and we're generally seeing if people like it or not. Out of curiosity, has anyone tried it? Here. Okay, I assumed it was a lot. It looked like some good traffic over there. Also, generally asking, do we like it better than the old machine or not? Yes? No? Maybe? There is a little peek into my job, everybody. You know? So we'll keep testing it out. My encouragement is, if you have, do we have the, any?
I'm going to be putting one out, a little questionnaire.
Yep, we're gonna put, it'll be up there for a little bit longer, another week, 2 weeks, and we'll put a survey next to it. Let us know. Give us your feedback. Let us know if you like it or if you don't, and we'll gather feedback and we'll see if it works. And if it works, we'll keep it there. And maybe we'll get another one in the mix too. But it's worth a try. It's worth checking things out. So that was one thing I wanted to share. Another is a little bit vague in terms of timing. We're still working on it, but I wanted to bring something to your attention. It's an event. So I don't know if anyone here went to or has been at, English. If anyone attended the Garden Spot Christmas drop-in event last year or the year before, has anyone heard of that or has anyone attended that? It's a Christmas time evening dining related event. So at Garden Spot, there are different food stations kind of positioned throughout the community. And it's an opportunity for residents mostly, but residents and team members to walk around, to mingle, to get some nice food, to enjoy some holiday spirit, etc. And it was a really nice event, enjoyed thoroughly by residents. This is something that we are discussing and planning on bringing here to Frederick Living around the Christmas time. So I don't know if we have a date or a time or anything of the sort. So I don't have too specific information to share with you, but it's a nice thing that we would like to share. So hopefully we can have more information by the time Coffee and Conversation rolls around in 2 weeks. Sound good to everybody? All right. So with that, I'm going to pass the microphone to Emily, who again is going to pass it to Al, who's going to pass it to Debbie, and then we'll open things up for questions. Sound good?
I gotta say, I like my job today. Mike goes, "You're going second. You got a lot of positive news," and that is right. So, a lot of good announcements today. I'm gonna start out with the Lights of Remembrance event that will be coming this year. This is a little bit of a change for us. For the past decade, we have done luminaries around the community, and this year we're changing the name of the event and also how it is done. So it will be the Lights of Remembrance, and it's a benefit for the Benevolent Care Fund. There will be candles and handcrafted memorial ornaments, which will be placed on 3 different special trees within our shared community space for the holiday season. So you can decide to sponsor in memory of somebody or actually in honor of somebody as well for this event. And the ornament will be placed on one of these trees. So it's called the Lights of Remembrance. We're going to have an open kickoff concert December 14th at 3 p.m. here. And then the lights, the trees will light up on December 14th, and it will, I like to say, shine through January 5th. If you do have questions on this event, Betsy Nader is hoping to head that up. I asked her if she wanted to speak on today, and she's not in today, so I was happy to just put that out there, that there's more information going to be coming out, including a brochure on this, as well as in the brochure is the sponsorship that you can complete. So keep your eyes peeled. That should be out pretty soon, in the next week or so. Secondly, we have a great team of residents and team members, a nice-sized team working on our second Christmas Village. So please mark your calendars. You're going to start seeing more advertising for this in the next coming months, really. Saturday, December 6th. It's the first Saturday. It's 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and it's open to the community, your family, your friends, staff members, community, the larger community. It includes craft vendors will be here, Christmas cookie decorating, kids crafts. We'll have some live music in the arches, photos with Santa. You can get a holiday Senate massage in the wellness suite. Marketing tours will take place for the main building only. We'll have a bake sale, hot cocoa bar. It's just a nice event to reach out to family, friends, our larger community. A lot of the things here are free, so it's very family friendly. We encourage you to mark the date on your calendar, and we'll have more information too on how you can volunteer for the event or support the bake sale. That will be coming forth probably early November. Fran asked me to announce today that if you haven't heard yet, there is a Cimbria Wellbeing Fitness Challenge during the month of October. So this is exciting. You can be entered to a raffle. I'll be honest, I don't know what that is, but it better be a gorgeous trip to Hawaii. So what you need, I haven't talked about it, but what you need to do to enter this challenge is there are punch cards you want to get from the Body Shop. If you complete the 4 things, I think it's like, one is going to 5 fitness classes this month, taking the balance test, doing a balance obstacle course, keep on your feet, okay? And I think the other one was go to one of the well-being educations this month. You complete the punch card, you get entered to a raffle to something amazing. And so when you see Fran, grab your punch card. It's just something fun this month to encourage Senior Health and Fitness Month. And then moving closer to home, so this month I just want to highlight a couple events to keep on your radar. Next Thursday is the Fall Education Series presentation. This is our second one, and these are being planned by the Intellectual Wellbeing Team, which is made up of residents and team members that help to plan education and offer education opportunities. This one will be on aeroponic on the aeroponic greenhouse gardening at Garden Spot Village. If you didn't know, at Garden Spot Village, they have an aeroponic greenhouse, which is pretty amazing if you get an opportunity to visit it. Steve Height, the greenhouse manager, will be here doing a presentation on that. He will have some great visuals and be talking about how that came to be and what it is and what happens throughout the year. They continue to grow stuff throughout the year, which is amazing. So I encourage you to come out. It's 1:30 next Thursday. It's on your calendars, but just wanted to highlight that. The other event, we do have 2 staff members and a resident headed to Kenya for the Travel with a Purpose trip next week. So that would be Dwana. Dwana, raise your hand. Back there, Betsy Nader is not here today, so Dwana will be going. Betsy will be going. Is Alice here? There she is. She's in the back. She's going as well. They're going to be going to Kenya to work with a number of with a school there. Some of them will be going for a week and a half, and others will be going for 2.5 weeks. This is sponsored by Garden Spot Communities. So if you're around next Friday morning, they leave. The bus will pick them up at 7 a.m. You can stop by to send well wishes and prayers at that time, and we wish them a great mission trip, and we look forward to hearing about their experiences when they get back. And it's that time of year again. Halloween is coming. So mark your calendars, October 20th. If you have great-grandkids, grandkids, family, team members will be here as well with their kids. Monday, October 20th, we're having a trick-or-treat night here. You can start, if you do want to make a candy donation, you can drop it off at reception, and then there'll be registration forms. If they're not out already, they'll be coming out very soon that you can register. Let us know how many kids from your family will be coming. So we're excited about that. Thank you very much. I'm going to pass it on to Al.
Well, good morning, everyone. I just wanted to give you some updates. Some of you noticed that some of the trees were cut down this week. Some were not. So some of the trees were cut this week, and some were not. So we are working on that. There will be also more trees cut down, especially around the parking lot in Oak Tree on Maplewood side. That's coming up. Boxwoods, I know that a lot of people are still wondering what's going to happen with all the bushes that are dead. Next week, Garden Spot is sending their ground crew over here to help us remove most, if not all, of the dead boxwoods. They're coming down for the day. They bring in equipment. They bring in dirt, mulch. So the idea is to take all the boxwoods out that are dead or almost dead, and fill the holes with dirt, mulch over it, make it look nice. And then in the spring, Scott Ruth is working right now with some ideas on what to do and how to make the place look different with different kinds of plants, different variety, that if something happens to, like a disease comes over and attacks the trees, not all die at the same time. I think that's what happened to the boxwood. The disease came and killed all of them. And if you have a variety, it's easier to control. So that's what we're doing, and that will be in the spring. Finally, if you live in the Oak Tree apartments, I don't know if you noticed, there's been a lot of people, more and more every day, dealing with the water loop for the cooling towers. The cooling tower is going to be taken out, weather permitting, on October 22nd, and a new one put in. And then there will be a shutdown of the heating and cooling in the building. So what that means for you, if you live in Oak Tree, that you won't have heating or cooling, and hopefully the weather temperature stays down, because we do have plenty of heaters, portable heaters, that we could bring to your apartment for supplemental heating. They're gonna try to finish in 1 week, but the experts are telling me that it might take up to 2 weeks to finish a project. So I just want to give you a heads up that it might be more than a week. They are bringing tons of people here because they want to make sure that the residents are comfortable. So there's going to be a lot of people moving around, trying to get this thing wrapped up and ready to go for the heating season when we need our heaters back in the house in November. So the idea is to get it done as soon as possible. But we really want your patience, your be able just be. We want you to be comfortable, at the same time give us some grace as we work through the whole process. And Debbie.
Hello, everybody. I did want to make an announcement that we did put the baked pie sales for the Thanksgiving pies. They're going out in the mailboxes this week, so check your mailboxes for those, the pies for Thanksgiving. It's due by November 19th so that we can get them into you. Can you hear me? No. It's for the baked pie sale. There we go. We put them in your boxes this week. They're due by November 19th so that we can get the pies in and have them ready for you for Thanksgiving for pickup on the, it's on the, I don't have the exact date with me, but it's on the paper when the pickup for the pies are. The other thing I would like to talk about, and I want to send my my apologies for last night. We ran out of turkey, and I'm equally upset about that. And when I looked into it with our chef, we had 240 4-ounce portions, but when we have a carving station, people tend to get larger portions. They were getting the 8 to 10-ounce portions, and we need to do a better job at planning for that, because it's fine if you get a little bit bigger portions, but we have to know so that we have it available for you. And the other thing that I'm taking as part of my responsibility is to validate that our production reports are correct and that we're purchasing what we're stating we're purchasing, just as my do my due diligence to make sure that we do not run out. We should not run out. And I apologize for last night, but I have a plan in place so that it does not happen again. And I was frustrated too, and you should get the turkey if you want turkey. We had it paired with fish too, and not many people like fish. They like the turkey a little bit better. So I just wanted to make sure I let you know that, and that I am actively working in the back with the chefs and the cooks to make sure that we're have the product that you have for their menu, okay? Any questions? Yes.
I have one about the meal plan. My only concern was I'm not sure how it works for those of us whose meal plan ends the 20th of the month. And I think there's enough of us in this group that applies to bring it up with everybody. If your plan ends the 20th of the month and the new plan doesn't start to the 1st, what covers from the 20th to the 1st? I mean, how is that going to work? I didn't quite understand that.
I'm glad Nate is here to help shed some light on the subject.
Well, wow, you guys are really going to make me commit to stuff. Your for this month, when you get to the 20th, you're still going to get the funding to get you where you are. What we're trying to figure out is the best way to do it. What I'm trying to explain is, for those of you on the 20th, you usually get your full meal plan dollars on the 21st to start using again. With the changes that are coming, everybody's going to eventually move to the 1st. So on the 1st, everybody's going to get their funding. For this little purpose, we're trying to figure out the best way. You're going to either get your money or you're going to get some sort of proration from the 20th to the 30th to be able to bridge that gap. So we're working with Visual Touch, who's the software behind the scenes. We're working with Tom Bachaco from Sodexo, and we're trying to figure out the mechanics of all of these things and how we're going to get it to work. You do not have to starve for those days. We will make sure you're fed.
Well, you also don't want to end up paying for, you also don't want to end up paying for 40-some days when normally you only pay for 30. So, you know, I don't want to say, okay, well, we'll just prorate that, but you're prorating it and I'm paying extra to just keep going for my 30 days.
Understood. And like I said, we're trying to figure out all of it and how it works. What we're not trying to do in any means is get you less money than what you paid for, and we're trying to keep a track on that. And I mentioned it last time we were here. If you feel that something has been differently when we roll this out, please come to us right away. Again, it's not our intent. We're not trying to take a few dollars away from you by any means while we do this. We want to make sure everybody's fair and treated.
It actually works two ways because if you have to prorate it somehow, you're going to run out of money. One way or the other, you have to either present more money, you're charging us more for those balanced days to start a new month. If we do it the other way, you're not going to have enough money left over to finish the month. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, this is why we also made this November 1st. You know, we want to get this out to you as much as possible, but we do know there is behind the scenes stuff that we've got to work through. Because again, what we're trying to do is make sure everybody's on equal footing, everybody's getting exactly what they paid for. You know, we're not trying to come back and take money from you. We're not doing the opposite. We're not going to try to prorate your monthly bill or anything for this change. We're trying to get it exactly right. So that is our goal. And like I said, keep us honest with it. If you feel something's wrong, please come to us. We will look at it and make sure that we fix it and make it right.
I'm assuming this is going to apply to the 10th also. That those of us that end on the 10th are going to have even more days, so you're going to.
Yes, everything I just said applies to anybody in any of the plans that was not the first.
All right, I have another question too about the paper we had to fill out choosing for the new plan. You didn't say where to turn it in.
Oh, well, I will talk to somebody else, but no.
I put up the slide. Noel did come to me yesterday and ask if I could put a slide up. There should be a slide that states return to reception. You can put attention Noel on it if you'd like. Turn it to reception and it'll go to Noel and then we'll get that process. There is a slide running with that information that I got up yesterday. So if you haven't seen it yet, you can check that, but it is just returning it to reception.
That's what I was going to say.
So in terms of dining dollars related questions, they obviously at any point in time during this conversation can come up, but that doesn't need to be the only questions that arise. So this is the portion where any other questions on your mind, this is the place to start.
I have a question in regards to dining. And it was not that we just ran out of the turkey, and it was fairly early that we ran out of the turkey, but also if you have the sides, you know, like the pepper cabbage and things like that, that was completely empty also. So there was like, you know, like zero possibility of getting any of the other sides to fill in the spaces.
That will be, that will be part of my validation as well. In addition to the entree, we'll be looking at the sides as well to make sure that they're making enough. And
It was terrible.
yeah, I'm equally upset, so I'm putting this plan in place to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Nothing to do with dining.
I notice we are wearing masks again. Is there any way when that happens that we could be notified of what, I mean, do we have an epidemic going? Do we have a single person, a small group? What? Is that going to be
It's
okay?
in terms of communicating COVID positive, either residents or team members. We have obviously changed how we approach that over the years, over the past 5.5 years. It used to be, if anyone was positive, that was mass communication sort of thing. Now, at this juncture, we don't do that. That is not standard, that is not norm, and we're not alone in that. We do run into scenarios where in our care areas, in Magnolia House, in Aspen, or in Cedarwood, if there is a positive resident or team member, there are requirements by our regulatory bodies that we mandate masking from team members and encourage masking from guests. So there is a sign up now right outside of like where the Magnolia House entrance kind of begins. And that's when we say, oh, we have a COVID positive, or we have a COVID outbreak, please mask. I don't know if it makes sense to say we have 3 positive team members, we have 4 positive residents. It's just a matter of, hey, we have COVID in the building, please mask. And that is going to be our communication from here on out. We don't have 3 positive team members and 4 positive residents. At this point, I think it's 1 positive team member, if I'm not mistaken, but.
Hello. Okay, guys, I have a question. I have received and processed 3 books. Regarding from Matthew. I don't know who he is. And I received another 3 books. My question is, do we keep all 6 books or we just keep the 3? Have any of you, besides the person who donated it, have any of you guys read this author?
Maybe they can't say the name. Matthew Betley.
Who did that?
John Durkin.
John. Anybody else read him besides John? All right. We're going to keep the 3 we have, and then when we have a book giveaway, we'll put the other 3 out then. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
I'd just like to make a comment. I noticed this morning that the refrigerator unit is back on down in the bistro. That was out for several weeks. Was it necessary to take that length of time? Because that's what affected the shortages of the salads and things.
It took additional time because we had to figure out, look at the length, how old the machine is, and determine whether we needed to replace it. And then when we talk to Smart Care, they have to order parts, and we're held until they get that part in to fix it. We do call them immediately, and we make the decision. I ran it by Mike as soon as I could, and we got approval to get it fixed instead of replaced. And we were just waiting for the part to come in, and he came in yesterday and fixed that part.
If it goes out again, will you replace?
The question was, if it goes out again, will you replace? This is a good, I can help out with this one. So the answer is it depends. With so much of our equipment on campus, there isn't an exact guide each particular time if something goes down on what to do next. We have decision points that we kind of weigh. In this particular decision, using this item as an example, we look at how old is the machine, what's the life expectancy of the machine, and what is the cost differential between the replacement part that is needed and replacing the entire unit itself. And we weigh what makes sense. In this particular instance, the manufacturer shared that the life expectancy of the machine still has a good bit of time on it, and the replacement was very expensive. So between those two things, we gave it a shot. We figured, okay, for the change that would be required to fix it, we think that that's a worthwhile investment for the time that's still allotted on the machine.
Recently, we've had multiple complaints about the menu for the Ready, that every time people have gone, they've said that they don't have them. The chicken, the meat, even the hot dogs. People were told that they didn't have them. We've had quite a few people who have come to us about that.
I did hear about that and I addressed it, and it is available now. I found out they were pulling it, and as soon as I found out, they need to have it ready and they need to have it available. That's why we call it always available. So some residents had informed me, and as soon as I found out, I spoke with Solvay and I spoke with the team that we need to have it out there every day.
So if that continues to arise, please let Deb know immediately if anything that is quote unquote always available is not available at that juncture.
Yeah, and I am checking too, that it is there every day for you.
This is a question for Deb. You talked about addressing the the turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing happens with meatloaf.
Yes.
And, continually. It's not just one time. It has happened over and over and over again. And substituting a hamburger patty for meatloaf is not appropriate, especially if you're not telling people that. There's one thing to say, I'm sorry, we ran out of meatloaf, we're substituting a hamburger patty. For the young people who are behind in the serving area, I think it is very embarrassing for them to serve us a hamburger patty and call it meatloaf. Let's be honest about what we're doing. If there is a substitute, say we ran out, we have to substitute that. Is that okay for you?
Yes.
Because I don't think it's fair to anybody, especially the young people who are serving that food to us. I think they are embarrassed by that.
I agree, and I will take that back to the team, make sure that they're letting you know. They should be letting you know.
And make more meatloaf.
And that's part of my action plan that I told you, that sheet that I had in my hand, that I am doing a validation on my own. I've always been taught, got to go back and validate what you expect. So I am double checking, taking the more time out of my day to make sure that that's available to you and we don't run out, because I get upset when I hear that we run out, and there shouldn't be any reason why we do. Okay?
Do you change the menus as far as, because when we got the meatloaf last time, we thought it was very bland. It didn't have much of a taste, and it usually has much more taste. Are you changing the recipes? No? Okay.
No, we aren't. But when we have different cooks making it, they need to follow the recipe. And that's where I have our Sodexo support here, I'm having them check them throughout the day too, that they're following the recipes. And because we seen when we had chicken, was it chicken piccata? That it was, the Rossi made it and everybody thought it was fabulous. And I'm like, what did you do differently? He said he followed the recipe. And and then he found out that I asked him, well, he says, well, the strangest thing is when I was making it, one cook walked up and said, well, we don't use egg, we just use breading. And another cook says, oh, we just mix it all together. And he's like, well, that's not what the recipe said. So we've had production meetings where we say, you gotta follow the recipe, because it shouldn't matter who's cooking, it should still come out the same. So, we are addressing those issues, and I had to ask the question of that Rossi, what did he do differently? And, those are questions I asked him, and he just followed the recipe. So, humans tend to try to make changes if they're not being watched. So now they're being watched to see that they're making and following the recipe accordingly.
That's a good reason to do the like it or not.
Is there a formula you follow to determine how much you make? I mean, do you go back like so many months and say every time we have this on the menu, this many people purchased it, and then you know how much to plan in the future?
Yes, we have pre and post production, and when we do the post production, we see how much is left over, and if we ran out, we make notation of that, and we go back when we're doing the ordering, and that's where one of my validation is to make sure they are going back and looking at those post reports so that they're ordering enough. I'd rather have too many items left, and we could use them for, if it's turkey, we could use it as the deli meat. So we can do things with those food items, and I'm letting the cooks know that I'd rather be over in the amount, not hugely over, but to be have enough so that everyone can enjoy turkey, meatloaf, spaghetti. Those are the main popular ones, and crab cakes. Those are the real huge hitters. So I'm focusing on those, and I did address to the root vegetables. I had spoke with a resident about that, and we're not doing the diced root vegetables moving forward. They will be back to the regular root vegetables. They bought it because they felt it would be helpful for the cooks, that they didn't have to spend the time cutting the root vegetables up. But it doesn't take too much time. So.
Is there anything planned to help out with the long lines for checkout? I mean, I've been here several months now, and it just has become increasingly longer lines. Your food's cold by the time you get to your table.
Okay. We have, as you know, we have a lot of new staff on, and sometimes those long lines tend to, because they're really trying to learn the system. Sometimes I get on there, and I'm sorry if I'm a little slow, but I'm not on there every day, but I try to step in and help out to help speed up the lines. Or sometimes I slow the lines down, but I don't mean to. I try to get people in and out as quick as possible, because I know you want to sit down with your meals. And we did have a job fair yesterday. We only had one person come in, and we're really trying to recruit and get more people in so that we have, we can put another cashier out there too. And the dinner one is the busiest time, so.
I have two questions. The first one was a quick one. On October 20th, with Trick or Treat at 6:30, our family's coming and to dinner. So I wonder how many others will bring their family members to dinner, so they'll be here for trick or treat. So is there any way to indicate who's coming so that you know there'll be additional people?
We'll make note of it and
In short,
increase-
no, but we can plan ahead in that instance to say, hey, we may have some extra individuals around that night, but we don't have any sort of reservation system in that circumstance for the dinners or for the Halloween event itself. But it's just something to note. But good point.
My second question is, it seems like half the time, there's nothing green on the menu. Everything is the same color. And is there some way to kind of make it more attractive?
Yes. We are focusing on redoing the menu, and I'll be honest with you, a part of my professional goal this year is to get you a new menu and have it not just a tweak here and a tweak there, something that, because I talked to Tom Bachaco, my boss, and he says, Debbie, I don't think the menu's been changed for a long time, probably, completely changed since he was here, and we want to change that menu. And I see that, and I see the pairing of items I'm looking at, they're not appropriate, and the fish with liver, we removed that. And looking at color, because you eat with your eyes, the textures, the colors, and the pairing of the foods for popularity too, so that you don't run out.
Let me
we're-
clarify when you say the menu hasn't changed. The larger menu structure can evolve, and certainly from week to week and menu to menu, we make changes and we make alterations. But Debbie is talking about the larger, grander structure that exists. So just to clarify that one point.
I apologize for that. Thank you for clarifying, because we are looking at revamping that to we are using your surveys that we did in May and June. We're doing using the Happy Knots, the suggestion box, and just our rounding too, your suggestions. And we made a big list of what we want to add. Some people said croquettes, and so we're adding those items.
I am going to challenge anyone. Do we have a non-dining related question for the moment? I know they exist. Have a seat, Debbie.
My question is about this time. And I don't usually ask questions. So, in the news right now, we're hearing a lot about processed foods and how they think it may have something to do with memory loss and so forth over time. Do you have any idea how much, percentage-wise, of processed foods that we serve in any week, let's say?
Processed, I don't have that answer right off the top of my head. I can look into it for you and get back to you. But we are also, Sodexo has a special program for food items, and it was more for eating for the mind and preserving, eating the healthy foods and menus for. The menus food items that are good for memory, and we can most certainly. I can reach out to our Sodexo reps while we're doing this menu and add some of those things.
That is a very good question. That is I imagine that is a hard one to answer directly. We can answer it directly right now. No, we don't know that answer. But we can look into it, and I don't know how specific we can get, but we can try. All right, so we're 0 for 1 in our non-dining related questions.
I have a question. Back in August, they had a hot air balloon ride offered, okay? And it ended September 1st. But on September 1st, they changed it to October 1st. Today is what, the 3rd or 4th? The 3rd. Okay, who won?
I don't know. Emily, do you know who won that? By the way, I would be terrified to go in a hot air balloon.
I'm not.
And to get in that competition, you had to do homework. So I really got on Betsy's case. You mean I have to do homework to go onto something that terrifies me? But I don't know the answer to that question. We don't know. Betsy's not here. I don't know. But as soon as we get that information, we will share it, who the winner is. So it was the essay to get into the hot air balloon, correct? I don't know that answer yet, but when we do, we will announce it, surely. It's fire keeping you up in the air.
From what I understand, we are now going to be able to carry over money. Can that be explained a little bit better? I
Absolutely.
understand how our bill looks now when we overspend, they just add it on. Could you explain how everything's going to look when we don't spend it?
Nate would love to.
Yes. In general, I'm not going to be plan specific, but usually when you got to the end of the month, if you were on the meal plan, you had $50 left. You had to find something to do with it, or it just went away. It didn't go away. It went to help fund dining services, but you don't have that available anymore. You start the new month anew. In this situation with the rollover, if you have that $50 left and you're just kind of like, I don't know what to get, you're going to keep it. So it'll be there as part of your balance for the next month, and then you can find something, to do with it at that point. It's not going to change if you run out of your funds, or if you exhaust your funds, or you use them prior to the end of the month. You'll continue to come by, they'll put it on your account, and then you'll see those charges go to your monthly statement at the end. Nothing's changing with that. What we're just trying to do is give you a little bit more flexibility and options to manage your account, and you don't feel like you have to run down here and buy a bunch of things out of the coolers just so you don't lose, 25, 50 bucks. Does that answer your question?
Will you see that on your bill?
We can talk afterwards if you want.
Will we see that on our bill? Right.
So on your statement, so when you, I hope I'm correct when I say this, when you buy something, you'll get a little receipt. Says you bought this today. At the bottom, you'll see two things. It'll say either prepaid balance or account balance, I believe are the terminologies that are on that receipt. Your prepaid is what's in your meal plan dollars. So if you have $50 on there on the 31st of the month, and you go to the 1st of the month, and you're on the $195 meal plan, on the 1st of the month, you will see $45. I am
That's our CFO, people.
I swear I am really good at my job. I don't have a calculator in front of me. Anyway, so you will see that, and it will be reflected in your prepaid balance. And again, just like now, if you're in that spot where you're accruing balances to be put on your bill, it'll show up in that account line item. So that will always tell you sort of what to expect that you're going to have to pay for. Again, if you have further questions, I'm going to be here after this. I can speak directly to you and your situation and help you out with that if there's still something.
Okay, so it's not going, the prepaid balance, when you have a carryover, it's not going to be anywhere like on our monthly statement?
Your monthly statement that you get from the billing office that says, hey, here's your monthly rent or any other ancillary charges, you will not see anything specifically on there saying that. So at any given time, if you need to know your current balance, the best place to look is on that receipt if you have it. I don't want to put more undue pressure on those in dining services, but I believe they can look up your account balance at any given time if you need it.
And I just want to pause for a second. I know I have thrown a few jokes in there and been a little lighthearted. I want to let you know that as Deb is talking and as I have received the news that particularly for last night, something as enjoyable and beloved as a turkey dinner wound up in that way, and it's a frustration that has been shared in the past in that way. Although I am, a little lighthearted in how I'm presenting things here, that is not taken lightly. I want you all to know that, just for clarification. But we don't have to be somber the whole time either. So I'm trying to manage the two.
we'll keep this with Nate since he's standing up there, you know. Back when you presented this the other day, you said 800 per person. Is that correct? So
That
in
is
other words,
correct.
a couple will have 1,600 as far as a balance goes.
That is correct. It is, the max you can roll over is $800 per a meal count.
Okay. Is there a time limit on that? Because I know at a certain point you start to drop off. In other words, you can't exceed that. But now for us to, as a couple or any couple, let's say you just had 50 a month left over. In 3 months, you're only going to have 150 on your total accumulated as long as you don't exceed it. Do you go longer than 3 months? I mean, I had 3 months in my notes. I'm terrible at taking notes, and I didn't write down. I thought it was going to end at 3 months is where you were going to extend it to.
Your note taking's like my math. No, the 800 is a cap. You can carry over, so again, I'm being very extreme with my example. If you get up to 800, you can keep 800 for as long as you live here. There's no cap, like I'm not gonna come out and say, oh, well, your 800's gone after 3 months. Your 800 is a cap. You can carry over as much money as you want, up to $800, as long as you are a resident. So again, you could keep it there. You could lose all your extra money, and you could have it until the next 15 years that you've been here. It's not meant to go away. It's meant to be there to be a cushion and allow you other flexibility so you can do things without having to worry about, it's the end of the month, I have this limited amount of dollars I need to spend or I'm just going to lose it.
Does that mean carry over from year to year?
Oh yeah.
Carryover from year to year was the question, and the answer is yes.
So if you want to manage your balance at $500, like that's the thing that you want, I say I always want 500 in my account. As long as you do that, that 500 will always stay there. It'll always be available as long as you continue to be a resident on this campus.
And what can we apply that 500 to? What can we do with it?
Anything in dining. So you can come out, you can get 30 specials if you want. You could bring your entire cottage or apartment wing to lunch. If you know, big Penn State game last week. I don't know if they got another big coming up. You wanna buy a catering and invite everybody over to watch the game. You can do that. You wanna bring your family in. You can do that as well.
Percy, did Penn State play last week?
This came up with a question someone asked about Halloween. This has occurred a couple times where guests have been brought in and exceeded the amount of places that our own residents could sit. And it's one of the issues that comes up when you start adding places, because this isn't something that just happens once in a while. It happens more than once in a while. And so we were looking at building other buildings, but we're not looking at increasing dining. I think you better start looking at that, because that is occurring. And we used to, so I sign people in, I always make sure that they know, because we ought to know if we have only so many seats. If 10 or 12 people bring in 3 or 4 people, we don't have seats, okay? Especially if the fireside's not in use.
I'll give you my take on it from my perspective. Mike will certainly correct me or add his own take. You're absolutely right. We need to make sure that we have space, especially considering we all know that we're trying to add some units to this campus. We feel that in general, the back of the house related stuff is okay, but we understand what it's going to do to capacity issues we have if we add new people. From a right here, right now, we do get that you have an event like Halloween or maybe even the holidays. We see it everywhere too. You just have an influx of people that need to be served at that point. And so we try our best, and sometimes that's staggering when things happen. Sometimes it's opening up the availability for other areas. And again, those are things that we'll continue to look at, and those are things that we are thinking about for the future. What we don't want is to add something, think we're fine, but then people don't want to come because there's no place to sit. Not just for an event, but all the time. So we are trying to avoid that.
I think that's well put.
This question's for Nate too on the rollover. Since I eat very little here, I'm going to hit the 800 and it's going to stay there. What happens when I pass away? Is that money available to my family and close friends that come to help clear my estate?
Yes, so again, money in your account is dining dollars, is how we're going to try to start referring to it, just kind of getting that mindset. It's available for anything related to dining. So yes, in the unfortunate instance, you would pass away and have $800 in your account. When your family's coming here to deal with those affairs, they can use that money to treat themselves to lunch. If you happen to have your service here, which I believe we have at times, again, you can use that money to help pay for catering, and present that service for your family and everybody else wants to come. It can be used for anything. We will allow you to exhaust it if that situation happens. We don't just take it away from you, but it has to be used for dining related things.
All right. At the end of 3 months, let's say I have $800 left. When the next month starts, do I start at 0 or does it reflect 800?
Yep. You will have 800.
And it will show on my account?
Yep. Your account will
Always.
say, yep, it'll always show in your account.
But I can't go, but.
You cannot go above 800. So that's the key.
Okay, but.
You can't go above 800.
But do I still get then my monthly allotment?
If you're at so the best example I can give, say you're at $700 at the end of the month, at the end of a quarter, end of a month, and we move into the next month. You can't exceed $800, so you'll see your account go from $700 to $800. You get no additional benefit after that. So if you're in the $195 plan, you have forfeited $95. If you're in the $295 plan, you've forfeited $195. Again, the money uses to fund dining and the programs here, and that's what the money does do. You just get no additional benefit over $800. Again, it's meant to allow you flexibility, but it's not meant as an additional savings account. We still want you to manage those dollars because we need that dollars and transactions to flow through dining services to avoid me at the end of the day or at the end of the year saying, I need more money to support this program. Here's a higher rate increase.
Does that 800 also include delivery? Like, as is now, I believe it's taken off my meal plan. So if I have 800 and I just don't, I'm not like having surgery or something, I just don't feel well and I don't feel like I want to go, does that pay for that?
Again, the dining dollars are available for anything dining related. If there's a delivery charge on top of that, or I'm trying to, a catering charge or service, whatever it is, if it's related to dining, your dining dollars can help pay for that thing. I do have to say, I get it if you're sick. We do encourage coming down. We love community around here.
How do you distinguish between a couple? Well, we have, let's say we carry forward $400 and something happens. Do I have to spend $200 or does my wife continue to get the $400? Because the cap is $800 per person. So how do you distinguish that between him and her, or her and him?
Technically speaking, it's each of you has your own account in our dining system. So we're tracking you individually. So we know that what you have, we know what your wife has, we know what everybody else has. And so that's how it moves up and down.
That's not what shows on my account. When I get my slip of paper.
Gotcha. Thank you, Percy. I appreciate that. Yes, behind the scenes, you each have your own account. When you look at your slip, you guys are combined. So the system itself does not care whether it's you or your wife that goes. It's telling you the full balance. But if I need to dig into detail behind the scenes, I can see exactly who's what's in whose account. You're looking at me like that didn't answer your question, Percy.
The problem you have with that is, like when we check out, if my wife's checking out, they pull up hers only and put both on there. So now with that occurring, it's all coming off of her account, not my account, or we have to go back to each individual person is going to have to check out.
So I'm going to start with this. I realize there's a lot of questions. I'm going to be here. We're going to try to work through all of this. This is something brand new. I can tell you this system that we have, whether straight down to the back of the house, we used Visual Touch is the hardware and software behind that runs our dining services. We have this exact thing on Garden Spot's campus. We've had it on campus as long as I've been at this organization for almost 11 years. We've had some sort of dining system. We've had this one for 6-7 years now. And this is exactly what we've had. We've had the same rollover, we've had the same caps, we've had the same plans behind the scenes. We have people that have their accounts merged, so it doesn't matter whose card's using for what or who looks up. It's going to work. That's all I can say. I'm asking for a lot of trust. I know you have a lot of questions. I have a lot of history that all these things have been thought through. They are working, and we will figure them out. Again, you need to keep us just as honest. We are very confident in this system. If for some reason if you somehow trick this system that it's not giving you the right credit or, whatever, please come to us because we will figure it out and we will make it right. But we've pretty much thrown everything that we can at this, and it has been working very well.
I think if we rebrand the community, we found our new tagline. Frederick Living, trust us, it's going to work.
With so many questions about dining service and so many questions about the new system that's being implemented, maybe that's indicative, Mike, that we have to have a follow-up meeting to the other meeting we had on dining service early in the year. Instead of using the town hall meeting for one subject, maybe we need to dedicate just another meeting.
Perhaps. Perhaps yes, perhaps no. We have two of these meetings per month. We have town hall, we have coffee and conversation. We have a dining committee. We had that meeting in August. We had a dining dollars meeting a week ago. It's something that we're monitoring. There's fatigue involved too. So we're trying to strike the balance, and we're keeping our eye out for something like that. That's the best that I can offer. Speaking of fatigue, we are a little past an hour, just in case. We don't need to shut anything down, but I'm just keeping everyone aware. We typically do these in an hour. But if there's more to discuss, that's what we're here for.
I just have a quick question. You mentioned something about if you choose to merge. Does that mean we come to you and say, I would like to merge with my husband? Do we have to request it?
Yes. Again, I'm just a little bit behind the eight ball. I don't know the normal behind-the-scenes procedures here, but if your accounts currently are not connected and you want them connected so you don't have to worry about, well, whose card am I using today, or it's going on mine or yours, let's, I'll say right now, start with Noelle. Just give her a note or stop with her, tell her I was out and I said you would like to have the accounts merged, and we'll figure out what we need to do behind the scenes.
Anything else for myself, Nate, Al, Emily, Deb?
Just one quick question in regards to the new heaters that were installed for the sprinklers. Will that change our electric bill a whole lot?
I'm going to prevent Al from getting up on this one. I'm going to do my best to answer it well. So what you are referencing is small units that we have placed in 27, 28 accommodations in the Meadows. The purpose of that installation is to prevent any sort of freezing of the sprinkler pipes. Thank you. Those thermostats are set to a very low temperature of 45 degrees. Our expectation, in speaking with the electrician that was involved in that project, is that the expense will be quite minimal. I don't have an exact amount. And I do know that that burden is placed upon the person with the sprinkler in their house and not the one that isn't. We haven't figured out anything particularly yet, and we will monitor it. But we do not believe it to be a large expense, and we do also believe that this will be a very beneficial upgrade that we are making that will be helpful to anyone who has that in their garage.
I'll ask afterwards.
All right. With no other hands raised, I want to thank everyone for coming out. We appreciate it. Again, 2 weeks from now, we're going to have coffee and conversation, same room, same time. Thank you.